Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and a link in the info box below the video once it's rendered. But most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join the panel, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show. Sharing the show increases the live audience, of course, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you are new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by a Plain Truth, Matrix, who we got Jose, Alan, and Sleeping Warrior. Good to have you all.
Buenos dias.
Beep beep.
Where were we?
Well, I like to establish the show by saying we still have no evidence of the radius of Earth, a vacuum next to a non-vacuum, a self-perpetuating molten iron core, gravity. Any more for any more? Curvature?
Axial rotation.
Axial rotation? Any of these things?
Wait, ring laser gyros. Yeah, but they're manipulated by like, and not conclusive, but they're pushed as conclusive proof.
In any event, if you have any of these things, please feel free to join. Share them with us. Enlighten us with your globe proof.
What we should call one of the shows is "I Want to Be a Baller," and then we'll just ask them for all the evidence for the whole show and see what happens and see what doesn't turn up.
That's a very good idea. Say, yeah, we're right. We've had enough. We want to do an IPS. We've had enough of Flat Earth. We're sick of it. Convince us we were on a ball.
We should do like an official, like a checklist.
What we should do is get Sean Huffer to do a fundraiser for it as well.
A fundraiser?
I can bet. Yeah, Sean Hoffers and Red and Rumpus probably they're working on making a video about all these proofs, but just in their own circle jerk.
But surely they can just go to science, right? It's backed by the whole body of science, so that no one should need to spend a penny if they believe in the globe. Just go to whatever the Wikipedia source is that says it's a globe, and surely that's good enough, right? Science says.
Yep, and then their followers, they laugh, they giggle, ha ha ha, Google and Wiki say so, you know.
This might sound funny, but has anybody called Guinness?
Guinness?
Yeah. Book of World Records?
For what, though? Record of what?
Do you want to verify? Do you want to verify if FE Core is in it?
If anybody can verify anything, it's them, right?
Well, they're kind of verifying set tasks, though, aren't they? Like how many plates you've got spinning at one time, how fast you can run a certain distance, that sort of thing. They're not really applying the scientific method, more timing and counting.
Let's say hypothetically, we could prove that the Earth is flat just by, just by R. If they can't prove it, that means by default it's flat. Wouldn't they have to admit it?
That is the nature of the beast. But that's kind of the overall game, generally speaking, though, is it not?
I'm saying it could be kind of a sneaky way to get them to admit it.
Maybe. You've got to think of something that you can actually provide them, though, to measure or test. So what are you going to provide them with? Hey, Nami.
This is for the public, so if anybody has an idea.
Numi?
Yes?
You know how to watch the back door, don't you?
Not really.
Oh. Nath, just watch the back door or whatever. I'm going to go get a quick brew.
No worries. How's it going, Nami?
Not pretty good. How about you?
Not bad. Anthony says he's having words with you about your conversations with Arwen. I was like, what are you doing? Just leave them to it. If they want to argue, let them argue.
Yes, I guess very important to Anthony that we all get along, or at least we maintain that appearance, right?
Who cares?
That's okay. We had a good conversation. I think we understand each other better for it, anyways.
Yeah, it's all about the Discord. No pun intended.
Yeah, I mean, things just have to be allowed to evolve how they evolve, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's certain things that Arwen said yesterday that I just fundamentally disagree with. And I was almost shocked to hear it come out of Arwen's mouth. I was like, I can't quite believe how mainstream you are in these views. I was shocked.
Yeah.
But, you know, he clings on to those views and he's welcome to his beliefs. That's the bottom line here. You know, everyone's welcome to their beliefs. As long as they're accepted as beliefs and not tried to be forced on others as reality or truth or anything of that kind of nature when they're just beliefs.
Yeah, and there's, you know, often there's things to be learned from debating ideas and exploring our beliefs together on the show.
What is they say about belief? Belief is the enemy of knowing things.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
Yeah, I don't quite get InfoWars, Alex Jones thing. I mean, I always thought that well, I guess I didn't always think, but you know, it seems like the question is that channel actually just satire, or is it? I don't think I've ever met anyone else who took it quite as seriously as he does.
Yeah, he's really into it. I mean, the only other person I've known that was even remotely as into it as him was Stephen Chess, and I say was because it's past tense. You know, he's moved on from that. Now, I'm not saying that to be derogatory towards Arwen and say, look, other people who've been in your boat. Not at all. It's just one of those things that's the only other person I've known, and he was similar to Arwen in the respect that he bought products from him. He actually even called into the show as a flat earther, you know, and gave it and blew smoke right up his ass to get on the show. He's like, I bought all your products, I've got all your this, that, and the other, and really big fan of the show, and the Earth is flat. And then he quickly got cut off by Alex Jones.
Wow, interesting.
Have you never seen that clip?
So maybe that. I don't think so. No.
Is that when Alex Jones jumped in and he said like, "Oh, they're prank calling. This is a joke," you know?
Yeah, exactly. So when he was promoting the show, or when Stephen Chess was promoting the show and saying, "Your products are great. I like the show. I like this, that, and the other," obviously the conversation continued with, you know, the Gruffalo, "Yeah, that's great, blah blah blah," and then it moved on to the Earth being flat, and he's like, "Prank caller, prank caller." That was ages ago. That was like 3 years ago.
That's probably why I didn't see it. I wasn't too keen on the flat Earth 3 years ago.
Yeah, occasionally I see people cutting and pasting comments from when you were a baller, and I'm like, so what? That's part of his journey. You know, loads of people come to this subject as a skeptic. You can't then turn it around when they actually see the light.
Yeah.
You're on a road to debunking it.
Yeah.
And initially, you're on the road to debunking flat Earth and asserting all of what you consider to be globe proofs.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I came to be a flat earther by doing my best to try to defend the globe, and then having the intellectual honesty to recognize when I was on the wrong end of the debate.
Yeah, that's the thing. We've got truth on our side. So when people say, where's your scientific proof of flat Earth? It's like, well, we don't need anything. It's obvious. You guys assert that you've got science on your side. We're not bringing science into this. It's as a defence to you saying that the whole body of science backs the assertion we're on a sphere. It's like, well, let's see what science has actually got to say about being on a sphere. Oh, it doesn't have anything to say about being on a sphere. So why are you asserting it? And they continue to. It's like, we have to confess. We haven't got science on our side. We've got a couple of cameras. That's what we've got. Truth's on our side, though, so we'll win.
In the last few months, I have watched and read, I have watched hundreds of hours of NASA videos trying to find something that bring me back to the masses reality that I want to get out of this flat earth thing. So I want to find proof, something that convinces me, but anything is digesting. The NASA reports, I look in archive.org, and everything leads me to NASA reports from the early 50s up to now. And just anything is hitting me. Anything is getting to the sweet spot.
What do you mean by it always takes you to NASA reports? What do you mean?
Let's say I'm looking for optics, a report on optics, but I'm looking in the search engine in archive.org, and I hit search in optics of perspective, let's say, and in the first resort there are pictures of NASA, and I sorted out by date relevance and the date uploaded to see the oldest first to the newest. And once it get to the date of 1950 something, NASA reports. That's what's posted in that page on the web results. So you gotta either read it or skip it. I read them.
And it doesn't help convert you back to the ball?
It's not digesting. It's like milk. It doesn't come down well.
It's like milk. You can take it in, but it doesn't sit nicely.
Indeed, exactly. I actually seen, and then the videos I'm watching is just rocket launches and moon stuff. Everything about the moon, everything on rocket. Hundreds of hours, probably 1,000 hours. And I seen maybe 4 movies since I started watching all these videos. The movies resonate more with me, and I still talking about a movie a week after. But then a video, it slides off me. It doesn't resonate. It doesn't stay.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Well, for me to get interested in a video, it has to be at least longer than 15 minutes.
Why?
I just like, explanation. I like to hear, I don't just want to be given a narrative. I want to be explaining it if it makes sense to me. And longer videos tend to do that better than shorter videos.
Yeah, Dave Murphy said the same thing to me when I spoke with him at the convention. He's saying, "Oh yeah, I like the longer videos. I like them to be 2 hours plus." I was like, "Really?"
Yeah, definitely.
But I was surprised to hear that, and you're the second person now that said it. So it's like, oh, okay, fine. People obviously like longer videos.
For me, it's about the truth.
Sure. I mean, the truth's addictive, full stop. So it's not that I don't get watching long videos. Obviously, I watch longer videos as well. But from my point of view, you just I look at the YouTube stats as a YouTuber and go, how much is this engaging my audience? How long are they watching for? If I do something different, does it improve? Does it not improve? Etc. Etc. So I'm kind of looking at it from a statistical point of view, which, as we say on the show all the time, isn't reality. Blah blah blah. But that's what you've got to go on, or what I've got to go on. So it's just interesting to know that people do like longer videos. Certainly, it is reflected since Dave Murphy said it to me. I was like, okay, I'll have a look. Let's have a closer look at the stats, see what's what.
I think if you're interested in the truth, then yeah, that. But if you're a globehead, you probably want like a 4 or 5 minute video. So go make a YouTube video. You know what I'm saying?
We've got Dearth in the chat at the moment, and I've spoken on this subject with Dave many times, and he said the same thing, that he likes to vary what videos he puts out, but your average attention span of somebody flicking through YouTube videos is probably about 2 minutes. So, it got down to the point where about a year and a half ago, there was a few different YouTubers trying to outdo each other for the shortest proof video possible. I think Dave won it with like 8 seconds. Flat Earth proof in 8 seconds. So he keeps his videos nice and concise. I like Dave's videos; they're good. DITRH. If you've not subscribed to Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, be sure to subscribe.
That guy in the Morgal, also excellent.
Nathan, we have some evidence to consider.
Ooh, excellent.
I'm going to share my screen. The evidence I'm about to present is evidence for a vacuum against a non-vacuum.
Oh, excellent.
Now, it's only took about 8 weeks for this to come about. So without further ado, here is a vacuum next to a non-vacuum.
That's priceless.
Yes. That's about the best we can do, I'm afraid.
Oh, you got my hopes up then.
Yeah.
That is indeed a vacuum next to a non-vacuum, though. Let's be honest.
Shout out to Adam Meakin for the evidence.
That was several vacuums.
Than most of the things I've seen from ballers, to be honest. At least it was a vacuum next to a mop.
Has anybody figured it out yet? How it all works? The sun does, or any ideas?
No.
I don't think we have a non-vacuum next to a vacuum.
We all have our own unique sun, it appears. They think that it's a physical sun, but when you actually do multiple observations of the sun at the same time, none of it lines up, despite Sly Sparkane showing that it does on his model, which isn't a model anymore, apparently.
So more than one sun, you think?
We all have a slightly different angle of it. Well, you think that you're looking in the same part of the sky as you and somebody else, but apparently you're not. If you get two people from, like, one in France, one in Spain, and you line them up, the third guy in Italy won't see the sun in the same place that the other two do, or seem to.
Wow. I think that about the moon.
For me, the moon is proof of, in some way, creation, because it seems to defy all physics. It looks flat to me, with maybe a little bit of a rounded up or a rounded down edge, but it's not spherical because it doesn't light up like a sphere does. Don't know what it's made of. Spectroscopy is the best way that they can use to try and do that. But when you obviously see what happened with the Kola Deep Super Bore Mine, the Kola Super Bore Mine, whatever it's called, their spectroscopy predictions were wrong. So it's difficult to know what to believe and what not to believe. But I don't know what the moon's made of. Moon dust. What's that? Don't know. Shout out to Still Closer. Here he goes ranting against Sly. Yeah, because Sly's lying. He's literally a dishonest baller. You guys all worship him like he's some kind of cult status figure.
How are we getting away with this? I mean, literally, we're pointing out all of the flaws and no one's going to challenge us? Literally nobody? Not even the Glober on the panel is going to challenge us on this stuff. Seriously?
Too busy with ice cream.
Yep.
It's a fair shout, though, because it is a nice day.
John Watson says, nobody gives a expletive about ballers. I do if they're in the audience, John.
I'm excited to find out the aftermath.
You want to see what happens in 20 years' time when everyone realizes it's flat as a pancake?
I don't think it's going to take 20 years. Unless something drastically happens to the internet and we all lose the connection, then... we should probably all look into, communications.
How is it you get the show restarting again? Because every time I try and get the restart, I don't see how it restarts.
What do you mean?
Well, if I click...
Oh.
Just
if you click that,
left
you disappear.
click and reload.
Just click something.
Yeah, if he clicks and hang up.
That was brilliant. If I click this, gone.
What a doofus.
That was brilliant. Love it.
If he's in a PC, he could just refresh.
I do everything in my Android mobile phone. I don't have a computer right now.
DTB MPR says, Nathan Oakley, you've had 2,000 years to try and convince everyone it's a hovering space plate. Come on, where's your evidence? Yeah, there's a few problems with that. Number one, we've not had 2,000 years to do anything. We've had 2,000 years of acceptance of a sphere Earth according to the rhetoric of globe believers. So according to you, if you are a globe believer, you have had 2,000 years to come up with scientific evidence of a globe Earth, and you have none. We have not had 2,000 years. of scientific backing. That's where your 2,000 years comes from, trying to paraphrase what I say when I point out that you assert that we've understood we're on a globe for 2,000 years. So if you can find me a single individual who says we've understood for 2,000 years that we're on a flat plane, not a plate, that's a bullshit narrative from the Flat Earth Society, who claim we're a disc in space to try and claim ownership of the space narrative within the Flat Earth narrative. Horseshit. Doesn't happen like that. We're not on a plate in space. Space, as far as I'm concerned, is a load of nonsense made up by NASA. Doesn't mean the stars aren't there. Doesn't mean we can't look up at the night sky. Doesn't mean those twinkly lights suddenly vanish because I say space isn't real. Shout out to all who shared. Over 100 people watching. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. Please share the show.
You know, because I've got thingy blocked. What's his face? Nick and Noel, for example. If I wanted to unblock Nick, how would I do it?
I don't know. I don't block people.
Must be in Creator Studio, mustn't it?
Nathan, do you have an opinion on giants?
On what?
On the supposed giants? Nephilim?
I've no idea. I've heard Rob Skeever talk on it many times. So if you want to know about Nephilim, go and watch Rob.
I just got a message from Mr. M. Scott's Veach.
Oh, the son of the astronaut?
Yeah, he said be more decorous to his family.
Decorous?
Yeah, well, I'm from Leeds.
Nath, what do you think of that? Show more decorum to M. Scott Veach's family.
What?
M. Scott Veach is asking us, you, me, to be more decorous to his family.
Decorous.
Decorous.
Hey, Owen.
No, you should be ashamed of yourself, M. Scott Veach. You perpetuate a lie. So feel ashamed. Don't tell me to be in any way different. You know, doesn't make any difference which astronaut it is. They're all liars, and you are perpetuating that lie. Don't expect any mercy.
Arwinovich, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, you're very quiet.
Just rolled out of bed.
Want me to yell in the microphone?
No, it's okay. You sound like you woke up.
No, I'm not.
Don't start on him. He's only just got here.
I wasn't starting on him.
No, I just thought, hey, you know what? Let me check out. And you guys are actually gossiping about me behind my back. Thanks. Thanks, man.
No, we weren't.
No, yeah, you were.
Were we?
Yeah.
I don't think so. We were saying that you were having a tete-a-tete with Nummy, and I said leave him to it. And apparently, Anthony had said otherwise to you both. That was it.
I just said be a bit more respectful or accepting of each other's different opinions. It doesn't make that much difference. But that's not having a bitch about you behind your back. It's not, and I wouldn't say to your face.
Oh,
and indeed have said to your face.
Well, I'm hearing you basically saying all these things about what I'm asserting and how I actually look at things.
Oh, right. Okay. No, we did.
You actually
no.
don't really know.
That's true. That's true, Owen. We were talking about your views
really
on
disgusting
InfoWars.
to me.
My bad. I take it back. I apologise. We were talking about you and your views on InfoWars.
I wasn't talking about that, though. I don't even remember hearing that.
Maybe it was me and
I
Nummy.
was hearing Nathan and Nummy.
Oh, right. That was when I was making a drink downstairs.
At least
all right,
we had
apology
the,
accepted, Darwin.
At least we had the common decency to do it
we
behind your back.
Apology
weren't
accepted, Darwin.
mentioning it in passing, and we weren't dwelling on it.
You know so much about this stuff.
Oh, here we
so
go.
much
Come
about
on. For fuck's sake.
We said, I mean, all we said was that you like InfoWars. Isn't that the truth? Sorry, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that a huge misrepresentation of the facts?
Anyway.
That gossip for InfoWars? So I wasn't trying to misrepresent what you're saying.
You don't know what I think about it. You don't really ask. You just assert that it's all fake. Everything's all fake.
Okay, so you don't like it.
I'm stupid. I'm just an idiot that falls for the narrative because I don't understand what I'm listening to. Right?
If you say so, I don't know.
No, that's what you're saying. That's what you've been saying for days. Every time the subject comes up, it's all actors. I'm such an idiot for even listening to. Why not just completely ignore it? It's all fake. No, if you play into it, if you listen to it, if you believe anything they say, then you're just being a fool. You're just being dragged along in a net, being fooled.
Very well put.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, no, but that's actually sarcasm.
Oh right, sorry. I thought that was you explaining it quite concisely. Sorry, that was sarcasm.
That's not what it is.
Are you just offering a different point of view, Arvin?
I've been trying. You guys keep ignoring me every time I try to explain it. I explained it yesterday pretty in detail, and you just ignored it.
But can you
remember what I said about it?
Not really. If you could explain it, a little better.
What
part is it that you
propaganda?
Think
what is propaganda?
To push a narrative, whatever the narrative is.
Yeah, and what function does that serve?
Whatever the intention is of the person or people's pushing the narrative. Who's to say what's the intention? But there's a clear intention behind it.
No, it's railroading. It's pushing people into a certain direction. Doesn't mean that you make up stories out of nothing. Doesn't mean it's all fake.
So what you're saying is that they take
into a certain mindset, into a certain direction. That's what that is.
So they take something that is possible, and they just add stories to it to further to make it more spicy.
Yeah. Well, they flavor it in a certain color that
I think they do that maybe
a certain set
of the time.
of characteristics, certain personality types that like that kind of flavoring.
I think they do that maybe 15 or 20% of the time.
No,
I think everything other than that is fabricated.
It's like Hollywood movies. They say this is a true story, and then if you are aware of the real story and you watch a movie, it's nothing like it or very, very, very faintly similar.
Exactly.
I'm just going to read the definition: propaganda. Propaganda is information that is not objective and is used primarily to influence an audience and further an agenda, often presenting facts selectively to encourage a particular synthesis or perception, using loaded language to produce an emotional rather than rational response to the information that is presented. Propaganda is often associated with material presented by governments, but activist groups, companies, and the media can also produce propaganda in the 20th century.
And the 21st. Yeah, well, that's a perfect description. Doesn't mean that the source material, that the subject, that it's all fake, that it's all made up out of nothing, that it's all an act.
That's correct, Darwin. They would integrate the truth into the lies. So a certain percentage, if not a high percentage of what they're actually presenting is factually accurate, but it's the way they present it.
No, that's not the definition of propaganda. That's
it's saying using loaded language to produce an emotional response. But
that's the way it's presented. It doesn't mean it's non-factual. It just means it's presented in a different way to create a different type of response.
But that's exactly what I just said. You often have a lot of factual information mixed in with propaganda, gives it more credibility, but the actual agenda, the way they're steering your emotional response, is what makes it propaganda.
Yeah.
They give you the event, and they also guide you how to feel about it. That's what they do wrong. They give you the event, and they also mess with your feelings.
That is their choice. That is what they want to do. That's their agenda. And so the person to fall for it or not fall for it.
InfoWars is a high-quality news source, okay? Arwin's correct.
No, it has very valuable information. It also has a lot of information that tend to not be out there a lot because it's censored a lot. That's what I like about it. They show stuff in your face that's usually on the no-no list. That's what I like about it.
If you want to understand what's going on in the world, just watch InfoWars and Alex Jones. You're all set.
No.
Good job.
No, absolutely not. If that's the only thing you're going to be watching and you're going to blindly trust everything, yeah, then you're going to be railroaded in a very narrow path.
Alex Jones is just a different point of view, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Alex Jones is not an actor. He's an honest man, just trying to convey the truth to the people.
He's conveying the truth as he sees it. His objectives. He has a clear objective, what he wants, how he wants to change the world.
And he pursues it. Exactly. And he also has to make a living. Also, he has a family to feed. So,
yeah, well,
watch Infowars.com, everyone. Buy Alex Jones's product.
You can stop being such an asshole, okay? Stop being such a dick.
It's the shield. You don't have to get it.
You're acting like a freaking 12-year-old here. Stop doing that. It's ever since you came in here, you've been degrading, becoming more negative. It's so freaking annoying. Stop doing that, man. You don't need to do that.
I can't do anything right. I agree with you, and you're mad. Jeez.
Is it the whole being impervious?
You're being sarcastic. Don't do that, man.
Yeah, I have to agree, Nami. I feel like you're being sarcastic. So just own up to it.
I was right all along. Told you so.
The thing about propaganda is that you are watching, let's say I'm watching an Alex Jones episode, 2 hours episode, and everything is fun and dandy, and I'm catching, my brain is processing what I think is wrong is just propaganda, like pure garbage, and what is possible true. And I just the show ended, but what happened when I go to sleep or tomorrow, then my subconscious, the key phrasing on the words he put in, the expressions of the face, the camera angles, that's what's working behind the scenes. That's the propaganda that I'm aware of.
Remember when you guys got into Flat Earth? What happened like the first half year? Remember? Sleepless nights? I've been watching this stuff for 15 years at least. You get that at first. It kind of sickens you at first. It's very overly dramatic, it's very shocking, very harsh, very brutal. But you get used to that.
It's kind of difficult to adapt.
So, hey, I'm not expecting you guys to go and watch all of that constantly like I do, because it is pretty heavy stuff. And if you're not fully prepared, then you can go nuts by it. Just people that are not used to Flat Earth stuff, they can get insomnia from it the first few months. And then they either reject it, walk away, or they actually pull through and then decide, yeah, maybe I should like do something with it, do more research. It takes some getting used to. That is
Has it affected how you interact with the outside world?
Yeah.
In what way?
What do you mean?
And when do you socialize now with like new people, different people? Has it changed? And before you used to know this information, does it make you want to talk about it right away? Are you more reserved to talk about it?
Well, it's actually extremely annoying overall, because here in the Netherlands, most people are completely on the anti-Trump train. So every freaking, like, in regular talks between friends of mine, mainly role-playing crew, it's like 10% of the entire conversation is anti-Trump propaganda bullshit. That's just completely revolting, disgusting crap. Like, hey, not everything's perfect with Mr. Trump, okay? He has good sides, he has bad sides, but they're just regurgitating the total propaganda garbage, nonsense, and the lies. And that sickens me. So in a certain sense, it's not all happy. But well, yeah, you gotta go, you gotta deal with what's out there, and this is what's out there. So
I can relate. My culture, most of these people, you can't even bring these topics. They cannot wrap their head around it. So
I know. I this group, I actually brought Flat Earth to their faces at once. And they got so frustrated that they actually like started to sweat in fear. Okay, so I just eventually dropped it.
They start looking at you like if you're the devil incarnated or something. Yeah. Like, what are you talking about?
No, they really did. They were like really getting like anxious from it. So I just dropped it eventually. But yeah, it's just many people are just so dug into the dream of their choice, the
It's
group
gotten
dream of their
funny.
choice, that there's nothing you can do with these people.
It gets to a point that I see when I'm telling them the information, and I see the matrix breaking, and I see when they reboot and they don't want to talk about it anymore. When they realize what I'm talking about, and their face just gets like suspended, like, and then all of a sudden it's like rebooting a computer.
Yeah.
You know, they
Well,
just they don't want to talk
they
about it.
got prefabricated software designed specifically for their group, the group of their choice, the group that they fall in line with, for that narrative, that mindset, that set of morals and principles, however discontorted, what is constructed for them, and they fall in line. And that is what a lot of people do, fall in line of their narrative system. And I try not to do that. That's how I actually managed to stick onto flat earth and at the same time stick to Alex Jones, while they are wildly conflicting from the start in many ways. I don't care, because I'm going to do what I like, and I'm going to follow the sources of information that I find interesting. That's what I'm going to do.
I think with Alex Jones and like people like David Icke, like there's a lot of benefits to these people, but you can't take everything because they also have a narrative. They also have a way of thinking. You know what I'm saying? If you do too much research, eventually I think you'll go crazy. So these people are up to that level. You know, the level where they're talking about reptilians and stuff like that. You know.
So how do you feel when you
So
see the
I work in a retail store, and I gotta interact with the customers, right? It's all about customer service. So I'm talking to this lady, how you doing? Finding everything all right? And she like, I'm tired. I said, did you just got off work? She said like, yeah, but it's easy because I work at home. I go like, no, so you do like computer stuff? She said, I homeschool my 6 year old. And I said like, oh, this is my chance to get in. So I tell her like, I mean, are you teaching him the right things, about English and art and mathematics and science and all that stuff? She said, what do you mean? I said, when you're teaching about science, please teach him to discern what is a possibility, what is a theory. I know he's small, but try to explain him from the get-go what is proven and what is a fact and what is a belief. And she changed. She opened her eyes. She asked me, "Let me ask you a question. Are you a flat earther?" She told me just right in my face. I go like, "Holy shit!" I freaked out for a second. I say like, "I don't gonna refute that." I say yes. I don't believe we live in a spinning ball. And she put her hand in her forehead and closed her eye cheek like, "Oh my, hilarious,
He
hilarious."
watches the flat earth debates, or
And yeah, she gave me his info in Facebook. I connected to him and he answered me back straight away. That was like a couple weeks ago. We had a little conversation. I told him, just keep looking, keep watching, and we'll meet each other. But I haven't physically, personally met him. I'm looking forward to get with him and see where he stands and what his point of view, what he's watching, and where his research is at. But it was really interesting. And then what I'm thinking, is it through the statistics they're giving us on how many people know about the flat earth, how many people is really into it or not? I don't know if to believe it because at least 1 out of 10 people knows about this and they are at least questioning the reality.
Mhm.
That was me.
Well, the funny thing that I noticed, also with my friends, is when I originally brought it up, which was like 2 years ago, I think, or something like that, that they at least heard about it. That they would then spiral off in a little conversation how flat Earth is now out there. So the funny thing is, yeah, I've been saying that like in previous discussions, is that like 5 years ago, nobody has ever heard of it ever. You just get the reference of like, oh, you retard. That how can you believe that? Now it's known that it's kind of out there.
Hey
At
Harris, how you
least.
doing? You say quick hello.
Hey, what's happening?
Good to have you.
Let me mute this.
Good to have you.
Hey, all right. How about yourself?
Very well.
I'm gonna mute my YouTube page real quick. There we go.
No
all
worries.
right. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Good. Yeah, I'll just turn this on and listening to you guys talk, and found it pretty interesting. My journey is interesting because I'll probably say I've been a flat earther all my life, so I don't feel as upset as much people are. Like I don't feel like I've been duped just because I never believed it anyway. But I find it interesting that I'm with a free thinkers group, which I guess is code for some of these people are atheists. And when I shared them my view, I realized that I was the only free thinker. And so it's interesting to see how open-minded or unopen-minded that some people are.
No,
yeah, especially the atheists. These people are very much in a cult, and they do not realize it.
Can you find your iPad?
Yeah,
oh,
and
sorry,
I realized
I
that too. I found myself interested. I thought the group was interesting, and then I realized that it's religion. It's all a religion, and nobody really knows nothing. But everybody that I found that's an atheist also seems to be really hardcore into science, and it's all really a belief system. And
atheism is a religion.
Oh, it is.
I used to love these people, Sam Harris and Richard Dawkins. I used to love these people until Flat Earth. Then I realized how full of shit they really are.
Yeah, and nobody really knows anything. I think that I don't believe anything. I either agree or disagree, but I do know that the story, when I look at it in the standpoint or in the point of view of, okay, this is what the scientists, like if I look at the Big Bang and all that stuff, and I look at flat Earth and other things, and even stuff from the Bible, it sounds better to me than what the atheists are telling. It seems like it makes more sense or it's more logical. But I think that people are so used to being divided or being into their own. People just want to be a part of something, so sometimes they just believe something, even if it sounds outlandish. But to me, even as a child, the fact that we would be flying on a spinning ball just I never resonated with me. So I never believed in that. But then I didn't believe in the Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, and other stuff either. But I think it takes like a really hardcore belief to think that we, in the heliocentric model, to believe that you have to really be wanting to believe something.
Sounds like a miserable childhood.
Not at all. Why would that sound miserable? Being able to question things that are in your surroundings doesn't sound miserable. It sounds like the beauty of childhood. The whole point of Flat Earth for me is like that wondrous nature that you have when you're a child comes back. It's wonderful.
It really does.
Yeah, I think with me it was like I said, it was funny because I didn't believe in it, but I thought stuff sounded cool, and then I realized as I got older, I can't believe things just because I like them. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just like stuff and you can convince yourself into saying, okay, that's cool, even if it isn't. So, but the flat Earth thing, it always seemed like logical. I remember as a kid, someone asked me, I don't know why the kid asked me, a classmate said, do you believe that we live on a spinning ball? And I said, no, it sounds kind of stupid. Do you think we're moving? And he says, no. And I said, neither do I. And we left it at that. Then as a kid, I would look at a map and I would try to figure out, okay, I'm just looking at just a regular 2D map. Okay, if a plane was flying this way, would it come from the other side? And then I came to the conclusion that it must have been just infinite. And so then, and I just stuck with that for the longest time. And then as a teenager, I played around with the idea of maybe it's like a record and maybe it spins like that. But I was never able to believe that we moved at all. So then I just tossed that out of the way. So it's always just been level. It's a level, it doesn't move. I'm a stationary geocentric. I'm cool with that. And I don't feel that it's a belief system. I honestly, just because I can't go to Antarctica or go to as far as I can go doesn't mean that it's not flat.
Hey, Mark, can you hear us?
Yeah, I was wondering, it says here my room has a problem loading. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Go on with your flat Earth thingy there.
Thanks.
No problem.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Let me go back to this panel. Yeah. So that's my. I don't know if I really have a journey. Like it's funny because I didn't when I personally first found out about like the movement. A buddy of mine told me about the movement, and I wasn't really interested because I already thought it was flat anyway. So I was just interested in learning about other theories and other things that was going on. And one day I decided just to check out some content, and I was like, "That's interesting," because I didn't know or I didn't believe that we lived on a spinning ball. I never did any research. I just never believed. I just thought we thought it was flat. So then I started watching a couple videos here and there, and was like, oh, okay, this is pretty interesting. So it kind of like reconfirmed what I already kind of thought. But so that's kind of my journey.
After Flat Earth, for me, I started to get interested in like rocks and like butterflies and just interested in stuff that I never thought I'd be interested in because I just want to know how it works, now how it functions with the flat Earth.
You know what's interesting? What you just said is I would say that that flat Earth has made people become scientists again. Even the globe people have to admit that they weren't doing research before, but they're doing it now. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah, it's back to that childlike wonder that you get when you realise that everything they tell you is potentially not true anymore. That you can look at it all. You can start investigating.
Is that what you want then, Nathan? The life of a 4-year-old.
Yeah, most amazing life you can have. My kid is so happy. Finding out about
when do you realize? I'm sorry. When do you realize, Island, that you had to come into the show and defend the globe, or are you just here for entertainment purposes only?
I'm Nathan's preferred content provider.
By the way, you know, I talked to a couple of Hasidic Jews lately.
Oh dear, here we go.
No, here's what's really funny. They believe that it's a globe, but it's not spinning. The planets are the same distance as the heliocentric model, but they revolve around the Earth, which is not rotating.
Okay, so geocentric.
Well, that's the thing, except their Earth isn't spinning. So,
doesn't necessarily have to spin geocentrism.
No?
No?
Because
the spinning is essential for the heliocentric model, not for the geocentric model.
Well, no, but can it still be a ball in a geocentric model?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
It is not as set.
Yeah, geocentric just means Earth at center. Heliocentric means Helios at center, Sun. So you're just flying around the Sun with the Sun at the center in the heliocentric system, and you're not in the geocentric system.
You were breaking up. Could you repeat that? Really sorry, but it was like
no worries.
crackly the whole.
No problem. So in the heliocentric system, the Earth is flying around the Sun. So heliocentric, Sun at center. Whereas geocentric, geo, Earth, Earth at center. So the Earth is at the center of the system in the geocentric system, and the Sun is at the center of the system in the heliocentric system.
Right. See, we have also so that's where gravity comes in. With the heliocentric model, in order for it to move and do everything that it does, that's where the gravity comes in. I don't know how they would explain it if it was just round and just sitting there.
Well, it's big enough.
It's more open. Geocentrism is more open to speculation, basically.
Oh no, they got so many things in there that is messed up. I mean, they say they went to the moon, yet NASA shows a spinning ball, right?
How does NASA explain the astronauts moving around in free space with all these movements going on, these rotations?
I don't think they do.
No, because they're flying parallel. No, they're flying parallel with the pretty much parallel with the Earth. Therefore, all those movements are being what is it that their USS Enterprise up there
But
pretty
the
much.
moon isn't the moon moving and also the planet moving, so aren't those completely separate motions?
Right. No. Okay. The way the moon works is the moon is. This sounds ridiculous. The moon is in a free fall towards Earth in its own orbit, while Earth is rotating around the sun. Right. But remember, the sun is traveling through the galaxy at 1.3 million miles per hour. So if the sun is revolving around, if Earth is revolving around the sun, then Earth should be going at 1.3 million miles an hour as well, if it's revolving around the sun, while the moon is in a free fall towards Earth in its own orbit.
Has anybody even begun to calculate these things? How would it be possible for this ship to just fly and move at these speeds?
Listen, if you can dump 2 Olympic-sized swimming pools worth of fuel into a typical airplane wing, they can explain anything they want with the math and science they have. Remember, if Neil deGrasse Tyson comes out and says it's pear-shaped, the world will believe him.
That's why I'm confused. I don't even understand what is Alan defending, because at this point it isn't even a sphere. I mean, he's over here defending a globe when the people that he admires or respects or think is credible, they're not even saying it's a sphere anymore. So
right,
if his foundation isn't questioned, then I have to question where Well,
the more oblate it becomes, the more flat it'll get. So maybe they're working their way towards that. Now they just got to figure out that it's not levitating.
But they're not even addressing the pear-shaped comments and the oblate comments. It's like it never happened.
I know you got two similar situations. You either have an observation of the oblate spheroid from space, and so there's your proof, or you have physics on Earth that you can show. Because the question is, how do you know it's oblate? How do you know?
Right.
Well, here we are. On Earth, we've got this. Here's the evidence from Earth.
If it's oblate, there has to be a curve somewhere. Somewhere.
Someone told me it's so minuscule you couldn't notice it. I was like, okay.
Well, it's not supposed to be like that.
That's
right.
what I call the great scale equivocation, because scale completely diminishes everything.
Where do we get the origin of the numbers of the circumference of the Earth? Where does that source come from?
That's a very good question.
No, it doesn't. Just like the triangulation with the sun, the way when they have to do trigonometry, you have to triangulate, but you still need to come up.
But is there an official measurement for the Earth? And where did that calculation come from? How did they conduct it? What did they use?
Whatever they used, they ended up with a lot of 666 numbers, triple sixes.
That's because it's all a religion. Remember, all these guys that are astronomers are priests as well, Jesuits and everything. So it's all the same thing. They figure once you figure out one thing, you'll fall back on another religion. That's all it is.
If we're discovering and seeing weird things with P900s, all these astronomers, they know what's going on, or at least they're beginning to figure it out. Because if they have big ass telescopes and us with a P900 with a 83 times zoom, we could see a lot. I imagine they could see much more than what we could see. So they're either keeping their information secret.
Astronomers don't observe the Earth; they just stick to their field, the heavens.
Right.
And
they just put the data in and follow whatever the data tells them. They don't explore, is what you're telling me?
They have guiding models for how to approach whatever they're observing.
Like X-Files, I want to believe. So I'm watching a video, let's say I'm looking at people in a space station, the ISS, and I'm looking and I say, like I want this to be real. So so far so good. And then they go to the spacewalk. So I see when they are inside the station, they are going with the momentum and all those speeds undetectable for us. But then when they step out of the spaceship, and the momentum is not there anymore, so they are not dragged with the Earth. I mean, I can't grasp the speeds that are involved, and then they're just free floating. Multiplexor, the multiplexor. What's going on? Why?
That's what I'm saying. How are they able to move and get and leave the ship and get back to the ship, travel at these immense speeds?
Right. Isn't there a vacuum out there as well? Isn't there supposed to be a vacuum in the space
Yeah,
that they're
drag
traveling in?
and such only really works if there's an atmosphere to drag. So it's supposedly out there in the vacuum of space. So yeah,
no atmosphere. So how are we seeing light? How are we seeing the sun then? What is the means of that the rays are traveling to if there's nothing to carry it?
Loss of momentum.
Right.
That's basically what it's supposed to be.
No, according to their model,
how can you replicate that in any way, shape, or form?
What do you mean?
No, they're saying that the sun that the sun rays travel, or the heat from the sun travels to the earth via convection. That's grade 9 physics that they teach you that in, by the way. That's their explanation, you know, that just how the heat in the oven reaches the turkey is pretty much how the sun reaches. That's them.
Right. Hey, I have one quick question. What's your take on? I hear a lot of people's different theories of what the moon is. And I
don't know. I can tell you that it's made by the same creators that made the Earth.
See, we don't know that. We don't know that because there's stories of before the moon.
Look at it this way. The way I see it is, first, the Earth was beside Saturn, or sorry, Saturn was pretty much rotating behind Saturn. It was the original sun. And then basically that's when this greenhouse that we live in was harvested for whatever grew in this greenhouse that we live in. And then after they finished mining this greenhouse, they left a little bit for us, and then dropped a whole lot of human beings inside this ant farm, so to speak. But human beings need sunlight. So they moved this whole thing that we live on, whatever it is, was moved from.
Hey, you mean God?
Our creator.
This story, seriously.
I mean, this story could be plausible, but it doesn't necessarily have to be God. It could just be the first
hang on. I can give you.
That just
can I share? I'm just looking. Where's the?
See, I look at I think we're just on like a big floor. There's just, I think this realm or whatever we're at, it's always been here. And so
hang on.
Right.
I think this body keeps us in this dimension. And after we're gone from this, we go in another dimension.
Right. Yeah, I just don't think it moves. This floor that we're on is like ground zero.
This is like the worst
probably not ground zero. Probably not ground zero. There's probably other matrix, you know, and that happens when you die, you go to another matrix.
No.
Hang on, I got.
How would you know that? How would you know that?
Video.
No, nobody would know. I'm just saying.
There are a lot of people talking about it.
I don't have to give you. Hang on, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? I'm not sending you the one where I'm pretty sure the most famous one that everybody's heard of is this planet. This planet doesn't have any trees anymore, or there are no more forests on our planet. I'm not sending you that.
No more trees on flat Earth?
No, I'm not sending you that. But here's 2 videos, okay, that have nothing to do with the flat Earth, but basically say that the reason why we have a lot of symbols in our present society is because we first were behind Saturn originally. And then this whole thing was moved, which is how we've seen what we've seen as the angry gods and Medusa and the dragon. By the way, have you guys ever noticed this movie does explain to a certain degree? I can explain a little better.
And with that, I'm going to say first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. If you like the show, you know what to do. If you hated the show, you also know what to do. But if you did like it, be sure to subscribe if you've not done so already. Maybe consider sharing the show with a friend. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!